Hare Krishna. Welcome to the weekly Srimad Bhagavatam class. We are right now in the first canto, 10th chapter. Krishna is departing for Dwarka. And today we'll do 28, 29, 30, and 31. It is the same theme. So we'll chant first 28 and read the translation and purport. And then we also read the translation of 29, 30, and 31. Okay. So text number 28, please repeat. नूनं व्रतस्नानहुतादिनेश्वरः
व्रतस्नानहुतादिनेश्वरः
समर्चितो अस्य गृहीतपाणिभिः
समर्थितो यस्य गृहीतपाणिभिः
पिबन्ति यः स अदरामृतं
पिबन्ति यः अदरामृतम्
व्रजस्त्रिया सम्मुहुर्यदाशया
व्रजस्त्रियासं.
Would you like to read translations?
O friends, just think of his wives, whose hands he has accepted. How they must have undergone vows, baths, fire sacrifices, and perfect worship of the Lord, the universe, to constantly relish now the nectar from his lips, like kissing. The damsels of Vraja Bihari would often faint just by expecting such favors.
Purport.
Religious rites prescribed in the scriptures are meant to purify the mundane qualities of the conditioned souls to enable them to be gradually promoted to the stage of rendering transcendental service unto the Supreme Lord. Attainment of this stage of pure spiritual life is the highest perfection, and this state is called Swarup, or tactual identity of the living being. Liberation means renovation of this stage of Swarupa. In that perfect stage of Swarupa, the living being is established in 5 phases of loving service, one of which is the stage of Madhurya Ras, or humor of conjugal love. The Lord is always perfect in himself, and thus he has no hankering for himself. He, however, becomes a master, a friend, son, or a husband to fulfill the intense love of the devotee concerned. Herein, 2 classes of devotees of the Lord are mentioned in the stage of conjugal love. One is Swakiya and other is Parakya. Both of them are in the conjugal love with personality of Godhead Krishna. The queens at Dwarka are Swakiya, or duly married wives, but the damsels of Vraja were young friends of Lord while he was unmarried. The Lord stayed in Vrindavan till the age of 16, and his friendly relations were with the neighboring girls were in terms of Parakya. These girls, as well as the queens, underwent severe penances by taking vows, bathing, and offering sacrifices in the fire, as prescribed in the scriptures. The rites, as they are not an end in themselves, nor are fruitive actions, culture of knowledge, or perfection in mystic powers ends in themselves. They are all means to attain to the highest stage of Swarupa, to render constitutional transcendental service of the Lord. Each and every living being has his individual position in one of the above mentioned 5 different kinds of reciprocating means with the Lord. And in one's pure spiritual form of Swarupa, the relation becomes manifest without mundane activity. The kissing of the Lord, either by his wives or his young girlfriends who aspire to have Lord as their fiancé, is not of any mundane perverted quality. Had such things been mundane, a liberated soul like Shukdev would not have taken the trouble to relish them, nor would Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have been inclined to participate in those subjects after renouncing worldly life. The stage is earned after many lives of penance.
So we'll discuss this purport, but we'll also chant now 29, 30, and 31. Please repeat after me, 29th verse. या वीर्यशुल्केन ऋता स्वयंवरे प्रमथ्य चैद्या प्रमुखानि शुष्मिनः प्रद्युम्न साम्बां वसुतादयोः परा याचारता भौमवदे सहस्रश
Listen. The children of these ladies are Pradyumna, Samba, Amba, etc. Ladies like Rukmani, Satyabhama, and Jamuvanti were forcibly taken away by him from their Swayamvara ceremonies after he defeated many powerful kings, headed by Shishupa. And other ladies were also forcibly taken away by him after he killed Bhaumasura and thousands of his assistants. All of these ladies are glorious.
X30. एता परं स्त्रीकम् अपास्तपेशलम्
परं श्रीपासुपेशलम्
निरस्तशौचं बत साधु कुर्वते
निरस्तशौचं बत साधु कुर्वते
यासां गृहात् पुष्करलोचनः पति
यासां गृहात् पुष्करलोचनः पति
न जातपेतरि आरितिभिर्हृदिस्पृशन् आरितिभिर्हृदिस्पृशन्.
Translation. All these women auspiciously glorified their lives despite their being without individuality and without purity. Their husband, the Lok-side personality of Godhead, never let them alone at all. He always pleased their hearts by making valuable presentations.
Text 31. एवं विदा गदान्तिनाम् सगिरा पुरयोषिताम् निरीक्षणेनाभिनन्दना सस्मितेनाययो हरि.
Translation. While the ladies of the capital Hastinapur were greeting him and taking and talking in this way, the Lord, smiling, accepted their good greetings and casting the grace of his glance over them, he departed from the city.
So now we'll go back to the first verse we took today. So this is a very is a section where the people in Hastinapur are talking about what Krishna is doing with the queens and how he is loving. They are recalling Krishna's activities. So in that mood, they are saying, see how these wives must have gone through so much austerities. They have performed the Lord. Now they're getting some intimate association of the Lord. And like that, they are recalling the great fortune of the queens of Dwarka and the Gopis of Vrindavan. So like this, the ladies in Hastinapur are glorifying the Lord. So this is a very beautiful mood of longing that is being taught. So here they are talking about how Krishna is kissing his wives. If you see in Vrindavan also, often you find this kind of intimate pastime being described by Shukdev Goswami. So in Vedagita we find this beautiful verse where the gopis are talking amongst themselves. Gopya kimacharadaya kushalam sma venum damodara dara sudamapi gopikana bunte swayam yadavashishtara samradinyo rishyatachoshu mumuchus tarvo yatanva. So one gopi is telling another gopi that look at the great fortune of this flute. Gopya kimacharadayam kushalam sma venu. This bansuri is so fortunate. Why? Because it is getting the exclusive right. Damodara dara sudam api gopikanam. The Sudha, the nectar from Krishna's other lips. The flute is getting it all the time. Although Krishna's lips belong to us, but the flute is taking the nectar of Krishna's lips. And then apparently it appears as if they're envious, but then they are saying, Bhumte swayam yadavashishtara samradinyo. They are saying that we are also imagining the great fortune of the parents of this flute. Because the bamboo tree is considered as the father of the flute. And the mother is considered as the river bank where the tree is growing. So the parent, that is the river, and the bamboo trees must be very happy. So they must be very happy that. And what is the proof that they are happy, the parents are happy? that there are blooming lotus flowers in the river. So that means they are very happy that their descendant has got such intimate association of Krishna. So like this, if you see in Bhagavatam, many places, this kind of rasik verses you will find, which are filled with madhurya rasa, sweetness. Sometimes, devotees are cautioned not to dive into these pastimes prematurely, because then what happens is we start taking this pastime very cheaply. Like when I was a college student, I was not in ISKCON, but I was kind of Hindutva, pro-Hindutva. I used to do Hinduism kind of awareness preaching. And it became a very big embarrassment for me because I had to explain one news that became very, very big at that time. One police commissioner from Bihar, he went around saying that he is Radharani and he came to the office dressed in sari. It was such an embarrassment. So some people, many people actually in Vrindavan also, they take this very cheaply. They think they are gopis and all that. So, and they do Ras Leela. But if we hear it from the proper sources, then Shukdev Goswami, after describing in the Ras Leela chapter, after explaining the whole Ras Leela pastime, Shukdev Goswami gives an amazing verdict. He says, if you hear about the gopis' love for Krishna, Vikriditum Rajabadho Biridam Cha Vishnu Shraddhanvito Nushrunuyad Ata Varnayevya Bhaktim Param Bhagavati Pratilabhya Kama Hridrogamashvapahinoti Achirena Dhira. If you hear about the activities of the gopis with Krishna, with Kridutum Vrajavadhu, the women of Vrindavan, Vrajavadhu, please know this is not an ordinary boy, this is Vishnu. Shraddhanvito Nushrunuyad Atavarnayevya. With faith, if you hear and speak and discuss, then what will happen? Then two things will happen. Bhaktim Param Bhagavati, devotional service will grow. And then something very interesting. Pratilabhya Kama. And what happens to Kama? Lust. It's a Hridroga. It's a roga of the heart. Hridrogam Ashva Apahinoti Achirena Dhira. Ashva means it will vanish. And the third thing is Achirena Dhira. Very soon you'll become sober, peaceful. Generally, people are very agitated, restless, passionate, running around because of lust only. But three things will happen. Bhakti will grow, lust will go down, and you'll become peaceful. This is a verdict by Shukdev Goswami. Therefore, it's all about connecting with Krishna in whatever. See, we cannot discount Madhurya Rasa. We may not be comfortable. That's fine. We may be more comfortable with Vatsalya Rasa, Sakya Rasa. But we cannot discount just because it is beyond my capacity to understand. We should worship those pastimes, keep them on our head, and say, Hari Bol. Prabhupada said, be practical. If you get agitated reading all this, don't read these pastimes. Read about Krishna's childhood pastimes. But don't discount something because you cannot understand. Just worship them and be respectful. The Bhagavatam describes Krishnam Niriksha Vanitotsavaroopa Sheelam Shutva Tatvat Panitave Nuvivikta Geetam Devyo Vimanagatayo Smaranunna Sara Vrishya Prasuna Kabara Mumuho Vinivya. So, how Krishna is enjoying in Vrindavan, the residents of heaven, they are going in their planes, they see Krishna enjoying. Krishna Niriksha. When they look at Krishna, the women, the heavenly damsels, they are on their flying planes. Krishna Niriksha Vanitotsa. Vanita means the women of the heavenly planets. Utsava, for them it's a festival to see Krishna. Vanitotsava, Rupa Sheelam, so to see Krishna's beauty, Krishna's character. And then they also hear about Krishna from each other. Shrutva Tatvat Panitaveno Vivekta Geetam. And then they start hearing Krishna playing flute. And then when Krishna starts playing flute, these women go mad. Devyo Vimanagatayo Smaranunna Sara. They become like statues. They're stunned. Vrishya Prasuna Kabara Mumuhur Vinivya. Their body starts trembling, their clothes start loosening. Tears start coming from their eyes. They become completely filled with remembrance of Krishna. So like this, Bhagavatam has many, many verses we describe that gopis love Krishna. The queens in Dwarka, they love Krishna. So this Madhurya Rasa is mentioned many times, but today Prabhupada is talking about the Parakiya Rasa also. There is a friction, there is a tension in the relationship where Krishna's own expansion of Abhimanyu is the husband, apparent husband of Radharani, and then Krishna and Radharani are trying to meet, and there's always this tension happening. So, like this, beautiful descriptions are there, and also the gopis' love for Krishna is worshipped by us because it is in the space of great longing for Krishna. So this longing is separation. See, our mood is not that we have Krishna. In India, many people say, "Arey, Thakur ji to hamare hain, Krishna to hamare. Krishna is my God. I am with Krishna. I have Krishna GT." So our mood is not that I have Krishna with me. Our mood is, Gaudiya Vaishnava mood is, oh, Krishna is so far. I want Krishna. That longingness is there. That hankering to be with Krishna is there. That mood that I had Krishna and I lost Krishna. Not that I am somebody very special. I have Krishna. When Srila Prabhupada was in Chennai, one couple, the house, they were the host. They had Radha Krishna deities. They had decorated the deities with black cloth, complete black. Srila Prabhupada was like, total black kapra, dono ko, Radharani and Krishna, covered completely. Prabhupada said, why did you do this? They said, no, this is the beautiful dress. Because the deities are so effulgent and so dazzling, the effulgence is blinding us. So we have put blackness. So Prabhupada said, it's so cheap. They are pretending to be very advanced. Then they told Srila Prabhupada, please speak on Rasa Leela. That family, 3, 4 of them were sitting. Prabhupada said, no, we should not discuss such high topics. So we'll discuss body, soul, basic Bhagavad Gita. No, Swamiji, we are ready. We can talk, we can discuss. We want to hear Rasa Leela. See, when you flaunt your wealth, when you are sponsoring, when you are the host, you think you can dictate terms with the pure devotee. So they were demanding to hear on Rasa Leela from Srila Prabhupada, who kept telling them that this is a very advanced subject matter. We should not prematurely jump into this subject. But they were insisting. I think after the third or fourth time, Prabhupada said, yes, we should discuss Rasa Leela. And you are also very qualified to go. Very good. But I am not qualified to speak on it. I cannot speak on that. And he refused. Srila Prabhupada is more than qualified. But that's the way he checkmated them. He stopped being useful. Because our mood is not to take it cheaply. We are like Krishna. See, if we announce now, there is a diamond in this room, whoever finds it, it is yours. We will frantically search for it. But some of you may not even know how a diamond looks like. You will search for it because Prabhuji has said there is a diamond in this room. If you find it, finders keepers. But imagine a second scenario where you had a diamond and you just lost it in this room. Now, how will you search? In which scenario would the search be more intense? In the first scenario or the second scenario? Why? You had it. You experienced it. You experienced what it was like to have possession of that diamond and then losing it. So the Gopis' mood is we had Krishna and Krishna left. So that longing, that hankering is very intense. Vrindavanam. Look at that verse. Vrindavanam gopaganasya gopyo vilokya govinda viyoga khinnam radha jagushashru vilochanabhyam govinda damodara madhaveti. The Gopal and Gopis in Vrindavan. Vrindavanam gopaganasya gopyo. So they are constantly looking at Krishna, and now suddenly Krishna is left. Vilokya Govinda, but Viyoga Khinnam. Now he's become Viyoga. Now there is no connection with Krishna. Krishna has left. So they are crying intensely in separation. And one of them is crying the most. Radha Jagushashru Vilochanabhyam. Srimati Radharani's tears has become a river in itself. And she is constantly crying as she is she's constantly singing Krishna's names as she's crying. The last line says, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. Shukdev Goswami in the 10th canto, when Akrura takes Krishna and Balram to Mathura, till that point of time, the gopis had kept their love for Krishna secret. They had not revealed to anyone. But now, when they saw that Akrura is taking for sure, they started intensely praying at night that let there be a calamity, let there be a cyclone, let there be a thunderstorm, let Krishna's going to Mathura be cancelled. They were intensely praying, praying. And then the morning, the dreaded moment arrived when they are going to leave. So they said, now nobody is going to help us. Nobody, now the elders are going to protect us. They are not understanding our need. So then they came in front of Akrura's cart, abandoning their shyness. Evam Bruvanam Virahaturadrasham Vrajastriya Krishna Vivikta Manasa Visrijya Lajjam Rurusma Susmaran Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. So Viraha, anticipating that separation from Krishna, Vrajastriya, Krishna Vivikta Manasa, their mind was fully focused on Krishna, and they decided to give up their shyness. Because of their shyness, no, they had not come in public like that. Visrijya Lajjam, and constantly they were crying. Rurusma Susmaran, and Shukdev Goswami said they were crying and singing Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, like this. So this is the Vrindavan mood, hankering for Krishna, separation from Krishna. And separation also, Rupa Goswami explains in great detail. There are 4 types of separation the gopis would feel from Krishna. See, all this when we read and understand, it is to increase our longing for Krishna. We may not be at that level. We are not being recommended to start feeling separation from Krishna like the gopis. No, when we hear all this, then in our own way, we will start longing to be with Krishna. Of course, Rupa Goswami says out of these 4 types of separation that the gopis experience, the first one we also can experience. The other 3 we may not experience, but we should know what it is. So the first kind of separation is called Purva Raga. Purva Raga means that separation from Krishna, where you have heard a lot about Krishna, you have seen his photo, you have seen the deities, you are like hearing, talking, you're going to holy places, but you have not seen Krishna. सब सुना है, बहुत कुछ देखा है, सब वो सब हो रहा है, but and then when after all this, when you actually meet Krishna, that Purva Raga basically not meeting Krishna, that anticipation to meet Krishna. Oh, now Krishna is coming. So, like, imagine somebody has heard a lot about Krishna and so much, and then he comes to Vrindavan, and now he hears, okay, Krishna and his friends are coming back from the pasturing grounds. That anticipation, going to come, he's going to come, that anticipation. And anticipation is a lifelong moment. But so this Purva Raga we can also experience because we have not experienced Krishna, we have not seen Krishna, but we can cultivate that mood. Okay, I've heard so much in the Bhagavatam class. Now we are going for Yatra to Vrindavan, Dwarka, Mathura. So we are going to see this place. Akrura felt that. Akrura was constantly meditating, anticipating meeting Krishna. So as he was coming to Vrindavan from Mathura in the chariot, it just takes a few minutes, half an hour. But it took him the whole day because he was lost. He was just in ecstasy remembering Krishna, anticipating. And he said, Krishna will hold my hand. He will start telling me, Akrura uncle, he will call me like this. Then I will look at Krishna like this. Like that he was thinking, anticipating. And then when he entered Vrindavan, he saw Krishna's footprints. And that's when, till that time, he had been anticipating. And when he saw the footprints, he fell down from the chariot, offered full dandavat, and he started rolling on the dust of Vrindavan. And Srila Prabhupada writes there, he's teaching us how to enter Vrindavan. That anticipation of coming to Vrindavan. His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj also, whenever he comes from Delhi to Vrindavan, and before entering Chettikara Road from the highway, his servant was Rajasandra Prabhu was telling Maharaj would stop the car and go inside those trees. Now, of course, a lot of buildings have come. Earlier, the entire road was empty. that long road till we reach Krishna Balaram Temple. Tomorrow we'll go and then you would embrace trees. You would be there for a long time. So this is how we enter Vrindavan, anticipating, excited to be with Krishna, to see Krishna. So Akrura is in that mood. So he was already remembering Krishna, but seeing Krishna's footprints, his ecstasy went to the next level. Like Srila Prabhupada always remembered the mercy of Gaur Nitai. But when he actually saw the deities, like there is one lecture of Prabhupada in, I don't know which place, Atlanta. 3-minute lecture, you'll find it on YouTube also. So 3-minute lecture, arrival address. Gaur Nitai is being worshipped so nicely. Then Prabhupada sings, Parama Karuna Pahudui Jana. Then he explains how Gaur Nitai are so merciful. They have come to this far off place, and his voice starts choking up. He gets emotional and he starts crying. And then he says, Thank you very much. He ends the class. Then it is Prabhupada's class of 45 minutes. But this class is 3 minutes. So he is like Akrura in that sense. He was already remembering Krishna, but when he actually saw the deities manifest in such a God-forsaken place, then the ecstasy multiplied. So Purva Raga is that anticipation. Oh, Krishna is going to come. Krishna is going to come. He has gone to the pasturing grounds. He is going to come now, any moment now. In that anticipation, the gopis are waiting. So Purva Raga we can also experience. We can also anticipate. Okay, now I am going to this darshan. Mangalarti, darshan is going to open. That anticipation we can cultivate. And the best part about Purva Raga is that gopis are meeting Krishna every day. But every time they are anticipating, it is as if they are meeting first time. That freshness is like that of the first meeting only. It's not that every day we are meeting Krishna. No. Same, just like how it would be for somebody who's meeting for the first time, the same thing the gopis are experiencing on this. That's called Purva Raga. The second kind of separation is Mana. Mana means anger. So when Radharani gets angry with Krishna, and in that anger, she feels intense separation because she is not talking to Krishna. She is avoiding Krishna. So Radharani's Mana Lila is very famous. And she would get angry, Krishna would try to pacify her. And she would not get pacified easily. Then Krishna, in a desperate attempt to pacify her, would put his peacock feather, sometimes his crown, on her feet and beg for forgiveness. Just like, in a battle, when the king loses a war, he puts his crown on the feet of the conqueror, the one who has conquered, and thus declares that I am defeated by you. So Srimati Radharani has that position. Krishna accepts defeat. He begs for her mercy. And then she gets pacified. So that Man Lila, there is separation. Like once Krishna told Srimati Radharani that, I heard you're such a good singer, teach me singing. So she told him to do alap, and nice way she sang. She asked Krishna to repeat. And Krishna sang completely offbeat. So she was very patient. So she again sang. Okay, repeat. Again, Krishna sang completely ulta. Ulta. So like that, it happened many times. So the basic impression Krishna gave was that he doesn't know how to sing. कुछ सुर नहीं, कुछ ताल नहीं, कुछ आवाज नहीं. But Krishna is the master of all arts. So after Radharani was getting tired and fed up, then suddenly Krishna sang in a particular meter, and he sang in a style which Radharani had not even sung till then. High class raga he sang. So this created two emotions in Radharani. First, she was shocked, surprised that Krishna has so much talent. He sang so well from extreme, not singing anything, completely bad, to super excellent singing. But along with that was anger. मतलब ये सब नाटक था. So she got very angry. And then her Man Leela started. So then Krishna is pacifying her. So in that Man Leela, she is experiencing viraha, separation from Krishna. That is also considered very high. So in our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, we worship separation from Krishna as higher than being with Krishna. So then the third type of viraha is called Prema Vaichitya. Prema Vaichitya is very interesting type of separation from Krishna. It is when Radharani is with Krishna. But there is intense emotions that even though Krishna is present, in that presence, anticipating or fearing that Krishna may leave, she experiences viraha. Although Krishna is physically present. Interesting. That's called prema vaichitya. Like once one bumblebee was hovering around Srimati Radharani and it was creating a slight disturbance. So Krishna told Madhumangal, his Brahmin friend, drive away this bumblebee so that Radharani is peaceful. So he drove away that bumblebee and he went a little distance and that buzzing, bhamra, Madhu, it's also called Madhu, it has gone. Then he came back and told Krishna, Krishna, Madhu has gone now. Now, one of names of Krishna is also Madhu. So when Srimati Radharani heard Madhu has gone, and Madhu Mangal said, Madhu has gone, he won't return now. This one sentence immediately gripped Radharani with anxiety. Oh, Madhu is gone, will not return. And she started crying intensely. Right there, Krishna is there. And then seeing her, Krishna also started crying. That became Prem Sarovar, the tears of their love and affection. They were experiencing separation in union. That's Prema Vaichitya. We also find another example of Prema Vaichitya in Lalita Madhav, which is also a scripture written by Rupa Goswami. See, Sanatana Goswami explains in Brihad Bhagavatamrita that Vishwakarma had created Vrindavan in Dwarka. He created what is called as Nava Vrindavan, where he created replica of all Vrindavan residents. As it is, he created, Mansi Kund, all that. He created Kusum Sarovar, then he created Madhumanga. He created everybody from Vrindavan, Yashoda, Krishna, and he made deities. It's like proper, like a park, like a garden, like a replica of Vrindavan, as it is. So, and Krishna, so that would pacify the heart of those devotees in Dwarka who are also in Vrindavan, like Rohini, Krishna. So, the example of Prema Vaichitya, Rupa Goswami gives in Lalit Madhav, that when Krishna left, Srimati Radharani became so anxious in that anxiety, she gave up her life. She drowned in Yamuna. Now, Yamuna, she is the daughter of Suryadev. So, she picked up Radharani and handed her over to her father Suryadev. Suryadev gave Radharani to his most dear devotee, Satrajit. And Satrajit's daughter is Satyabhama. So Radharani merged into Satyabhama. So in Dwarka, Satyabhama had asked Vishwakarma to make Nava Vrindavan. And Radharani, in the Satyabhama is carrying the mood of Radharani. So Srimati Radharani would go there to Nava Vrindavan and to pacify the separation of Vrindavan. But she would go in disguise. And Krishna would also go at sometimes to Nava Vrindavan to feel that longingness to be with the Brajavasis. And one day when he was talking to Madhumangal of Nava Vrindavan, Krishna was sharing his heart with Madhumangal and suddenly he saw somebody coming from far. And he looked from far, who is this? He said, let me find out. So he went quietly where Krishna's deity was kept. He hid that deity and he himself stood there. And then Satyabhama came and Satyabhama saw Krishna's deity. But she felt a strong feeling that this is actually Krishna. And Krishna suddenly began to feel, oh, I'm feeling the same emotion that I would feel in the presence of Srimati Radharani. Now Satyabhama is talking to this deity, Radharani talking, Krishna, how are you? Krishna, how was your day? I'm missing you. When will you come from Vrindavan? So she's talking to Krishna. And Krishna is right there and tears start coming from Krishna's eyes. So this is actually Krishna's deity. Satyabhama is thinking it is deity of Krishna, but the deity is crying. And then Krishna started speaking, glorifying Srimati Radharani. Now this was obvious that it is not simply a deity, this is Krishna there. But the Prema Vaichitya is so deep that Satyabhama says, oh, Vishwakarma is so perfect. He has made this deity which is not only crying but also speaking. And being in the presence of Krishna, she is crying intensely, remembering Krishna. And Krishna is also crying. So Rupa Goswami gives it as an example of Prema Vaichitya, separation from Krishna when Krishna is there. So first is what? Purva Raga. Second, Mana. Third is Prema Vaichitya. The fourth kind of separation is called Pravasa. Pravasa is when Krishna is gone. So two types of pravas is there. One is when Krishna goes for a short time. Second is when Krishna goes for a long time. Short time is he goes in the morning, comes back in the evening after herding the cows. Long time separation is when Krishna goes to Mathura. So like that. So, and when Krishna has gone to Mathura for a long time and then Krishna comes, but Krishna doesn't come and then he sends Uddhava. What Uddhava experiences the Gopis are feeling, that is called pravasa. That viraha, that separation is very intense. It is like fire burning them. They are, it's like Rupa Goswami gives the example of a crab which is there in the lake, in the water, comfortable. But because of the summer heat, the lake starts getting dried up. There is no water left. And that crab starts digging the sand to get shelter. So he gives this poetic example to explain that the heat of separation from Krishna, the fire of separation has dried up the heart, the lake of the heart of the gopis, and they are like desperately holding on. That sand is compared to that promise Krishna made, I'm coming back, I will come soon. So they're holding on to that Krishna's words, surviving only on that. Krishna will come, but Krishna has not come. Instead, he sends Uddhava. And then when Uddhava tells, he sees the gopis crying. See, if you go outside Vrindavan, whole world, everywhere, from Mumbai to Miami, from London to Africa, everywhere you go, the only preaching is be happy. Always laugh, be happy. But Vrindavan is the only place where the preaching is cry. You should cry for Krishna. So Uddhava sees everybody is crying for Krishna. Like we are doing dhyan, meditation. We are told, remember Krishna's lotus feet. Sachintayet Bhagavatis Charanarvindam, and then meditate on Krishna's imprints on his lotus feet. Vajram, Kushadvaja Saroru Alanchanathyan, all that. Meditate. So Gopis are also meditating in Vrindavan, but the difference is we are meditating to get Krishna in the heart. They are meditating to remove Krishna from their mind, but they are cannot able to remove. Both parties are unsuccessful. We are also unsuccessful, Gopis are also unsuccessful. So Uddhava tells Radharani that, Hare, forget Krishna. You are crying so much, you are suffering so much, forget Krishna. That time Srimati Radharani says, I cannot. So the example she gives is that there is animals which are getting burnt in the stable. There is a fire in the stable. The animal is getting burnt, the horse is getting burnt. And it has to run out of that stable. But it cannot run because it's bolted from outside. You remove the bolt, then the horse can run away. Similarly, we are burning in the fire of separation from Krishna. This body cannot live. I cannot live in this. So I just want to get out of this body, live, leave this. But I can. Because this house is bolted. That bolt is Krishna's promise. I will come back. That's what is keeping us alive, but we are burning. But it's not a raging forest fire. Rupa Goswami says it's a slow, low flame fire. It's burning intensely. This is our Gaudiya Vaishnava mode, the separation mode, hankering for Krishna. So she gives the example of a deer that a hunter tracks by playing nice music, flute, and the deer hears that and gets caught by the hunter, and the hunter shoots an arrow and kills that deer. So as the deer is dying, the deer tells that hunter that please use my skin to create another musical instrument and make better music, because the deer is so attached to the music that is coming from that hunter. So Radharani says, we are like that deer. Krishna may kill me, Krishna may neglect me, Krishna may reject me, but Krishna, I can never forget Krishna. So that's the example she gives. Then she gives the example of Chakora bird. Chakora bird waits for the full moon. So waiting for the full moon, his neck is always tilted up. And sometimes it is Amavasya, it is not full moon. His neck actually breaks, but Chakora bird doesn't give up waiting for the full moon, even though the full moon is not present. Then she gives the example of the firefly, Patanga, which knowing that it will be burnt enters into the fire. Similarly, Krishna is like that fire. I may be burnt, but Krishna will always be my object of love. Then she gives another example of Chataka bird. Chataka bird waits for the Swati Nakshatra. When it appears, there is a cloud which gathers and that rainwater. It wants to drink the water directly from the cloud. But sometimes the Chataka bird does not get the water from the cloud. The cloud, instead of giving water, simply roars, thunders, and there is a lightning, and sometimes the lightning strikes that Chataka bird and the bird dies. But still, the Chataka bird does not drink water from the lakes, reservoirs of water, and the ponds, although his friends are saying, "Are idhar kilo pani hai idhar?" Then nahi, मैं तो उसी के लिए wait करूँ. I will wait for that water from that cloud. So Radharani says, we will only wait for love from Krishna. No objects of this world can give me happiness. No IPL, Bollywood, nothing. Only Krishna. That is the Gopis mood of the Vrindavan Gopis mood. Only Krishna is the source. And the last example she gives is of a fish which is caught in the hunter's net, the fisherman's net. So for some time, the net contains both the water and the fish. But when he pulls out the net, the water goes away and the fish remains, and the fish starts trembling. So Srimati Radharani explains that the fish had given so much association to the water. But at the last minute, the water decided to desert the fish. The water betrayed the fish. And in separation from that water, the fish is trembling and giving up his life. So she says, so Krishna is like that water. He has abandoned me and I will tremble and give up my life in separation from Krishna. So then she says, so if all these objects and things of this world are attached to the respective object of worship, how much more I am attached to Krishna. So like that. So she dismisses Uddhava's lecture and tells him, you go and give your lecture to someone else to forget Krishna. So Uddhava had come to Vrindavan thinking he is very knowledgeable. He is Jnana Mishra Bhakta. But Brajvasi's love is Kevala Bhakti. Kevala Bhakti means it is Jnana Shunya Bhakti. There is no knowledge of Krishna's opulence. There is pure love. So that love is so pure that the knowledge, the divinity aspect of Krishna is clouded, it's covered. And Uddhava had come, when Maharaj said that Uddhava had come to Vrindavan wearing the hat of knowledge, big hat. He was a disciple of Brahaspati, who is the guru of the Devatas. So Uddhava came thinking he has a lot of knowledge about Krishna. But seeing their love, he realized that his knowledge is useless in front of their love. So he kept looking, their love was so high. So this Maharaj was explaining that Uddhava kept looking at the Gopis' love for Krishna. It is so high, so high. He kept looking and his hat fell down. His hat of knowledge fell. Yeah. He realized that my knowledge is useless. Then he got a pole star realization. Pole star realization means he got the realization that knowledge is very important. Knowledge is like sunlight. When there is darkness and there is sunlight, then you can see everything. Sunlight helps us see things clearly. Similarly, knowledge helps us understand things clearly. But there is a problem with knowledge. Just like there is a problem with sunlight. Sunlight will help us see everything, but with the sunlight, you cannot see pole star, Dhruva Tara. There has to be complete darkness to see Dhruva Tara. Similarly, all the knowledge I have, I can see the confusions of this world, I can get clarity. But with this sunlight of knowledge, you cannot see and understand and appreciate the love that the gopis have for Krishna, that sweetness, that madhurya is like the pole star. To experience that, this sunlight has to go away, the knowledge has to go away, and there has to be pure love. And that's why Srimati Radharani embodies this principle. Ashlishya. This is the culmination of Krishna consciousness aspiration. Ashlishya padaratam pinastuma adarshana marmahatam karotu va yata tatha va vidadhatulam pato mat prananathasthu saevana para. So Krishna, you will be my master always. Whether you embrace me or whether you reject me. This is Radharani's prayer. You are a lampata, you are a debauchee, but you will always remain my master. And if you like some other gopi, I will decorate that gopi, I will please that gopi, and I will bring her to you so that you can be happy because your happiness is my only goal. So this is the mood of Vrindavan. This is the mood of the gopis. So we are right now busy praying to Krishna for our problems, for our material problems. And the actual Krishna conscious goal is this. One day we have to reach this stage where we can pray like this. But unfortunately, we go in extreme. Either we only pray for material things, or we artificially pray that, okay, I will please Krishna completely. We don't realize what Bhagavad Gita teaches us in 18.47 that engage in your own occupation, own dharma, even if it is imperfect, even if it is wrong. Better to do that than perform others' duties. So if you're a grahastha, don't aspire to be like gopis and don't pray for that high level when you are not that level. Also, don't be in the other extreme saying that don't be besharam, shameless, only asking for our material things. Somewhere we have to begin the journey. Not long ago, one relatively young ISKCON devotee, he had just got married also and he came to KC also same time. So he was excited, his wife was also excited about bhakti. So they were spending more and more time in temple after marriage. And I observed that and I asked him, so you seem to be spending more time in temple, you just got recently married. He said, yes, both of us, we have decided to increase our temple services. So I asked him, I was curious, I asked him, what is inspiring you so much? So after what we discussed, I wrote a journal entry called Home versus Temple. Where do we find Krishna first? So I'm just sharing those thoughts with you. Home versus temple. Where do we find Krishna first? Because when we read these kind of prayers, because this boy, this young man, he must be 26, he got married. So why I am remembering this incident is because this verse, Ashli Shava Padaratam, is what he quoted me. Because with shining eyes, he said, the scriptures have inspired me to understand the highest goal of spirituality. And to prove his point, he quoted this verse, which is one of the most exalted verses. And he said, this verse that this is there in Shikshashtakam, the last verse, which I just now chanted. Radharani's mood. That whatever happens, I will give my life to Krishna. This is very romantic. Means like very ideal. Wow. Krishna के लिए सब कुछ सर पे कफन बांध के निकल गए बस अभी Krishna is everything. So his reasoning was very simple and very sincere also. He's very sincere. He is basically saying what? Prabhuji, what are the scriptures teach? What is the highest? This is highest, no? Everything for Krishna, nothing for myself. So both of us decided to give more time to the temple. Simple logic. Sounds very logical, sounds very good. Now, I was admiring his zeal, his enthusiasm, but I gently reasoned with him that, see, Krishna will be more pleased if you first you practice Krishna consciousness with your wife at home. Then you come to temple and offer service. So that conversation stirred me very deeply. And then I understood how the study of Bhagavatam and scriptures, it has to first happen at home with your partner. Then it will protect both your family also, and it will protect your devotion also. Because this verse which the gentleman quoted to me, this Prabhuji quoted, this is like the classic verse. Definitely, it is the highest point of surrender, but that is the stage where the devotee wants nothing, but only Krishna's happiness, regardless of personal circumstances. Are you ready for that? If you look honestly, we are very far away from this. We pray to Krishna for small reliefs, to pass an exam. Prabhuji, मेरा knee में pain है, please मेरे लिए pray करो. So we want Krishna to heal my knee problem or remove my exam problem so that I can be happy. We are not thinking of Krishna's happiness. So if that is our situation, our present condition is very, very material, and the exalted condition can't jump there, can't suddenly jump there. So what we need to do is sincerely study scriptures deeply and also honest self-reflection, admitting where we are. And that happens at home because that is where you are being blessed with your partner. There is a dangerous misunderstanding of suffering in ISKCON, which I have observed. Many devotees, when they read about Radharani's willingness or Gopis' love for Krishna, how they suffered endlessly, for Krishna, they suffered so much. They conclude that we must neglect our families. Or worse, we should deliberately sabotage our own life so that I can prove I'm a devotee of Krishna. So this is a very fundamental misinterpretation of the highest Gaudiya known. And this has created havoc in many devotee families. As a brahmachari, as an outsider, I get an aerial view. You see what is happening. Sometimes from a helicopter, you can see better the battlefield. On the battlefield, you don't understand. You become blind. So there is a tragic pattern that we have seen. Devotee begins first neglecting children or spouse in the name of loving Krishna purely. Then higher service at temple, higher devotional service. Then the children become resentful towards Krishna, or the marriage starts, there is a strain in the relationship. It starts crumbling. And then that's the time to become humble. But the devotees have misplaced pride. They say, this is Krishna's special mercy. He is testing my devotion. Govind Prabhu gave class here, he gave the example of Stoka Krishna Prabhu. He had this delirium. Instead of making him sleep, devotee is in Maya, more and more Maya. So it all began with not allowing him to sleep. And then when he went cranky, they gave purport to that Maya is getting him. Devotees sometimes quote this verse, which Prabhupada would quote many times. Very famous verse, how Krishna takes away everything. 10th canto, you know this verse? Yasyam anugrahanami harishye tadanam shanai. When I am very merciful to someone, I take away all their wealth. So sometimes devotees quote this verse, imagining themselves as recipients of divine intervention by Krishna. This is spiritual delusion, masquerading as surrender. I have surrendered, no. So most of our suffering is not Krishna's special mercy, Hare Krishna. It is the natural consequence of our irresponsibility. And we foolishly imagine that if I neglect my spouse, my family, then that is equal to devotion. No, that is a perversion of our understanding of scriptures. Because when we study Gopis loving Krishna without being honest about where we are, then we come to dangerous conclusions. And we start thinking that, oh, I have to be pure like the Gopis, so I must suffer. Because Gopis suffered. Therefore, I should create suffering in my life to prove my devotion. This is subconscious. I'm not consciously, we will not say that. But 95% of thing is subconscious, right? So we completely miss the point. Say, Gopis did not want suffering. They wanted Krishna. The apparent suffering and sacrifice was not artificial imposition. It was natural expression of their overwhelming love for Krishna. That came out like this. They were not trying to suffer. They were loving Krishna with every fiber of their being. बस कृष्ण से प्यार करना. So true devotion मतलब क्या? True devotee will never be foolish. The scriptures reveal the highest love of gopis. Please read Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antarila, last 3 chapters. How gopis are thinking, Radharani is thinking. But it is given to us not to imitate. It is given so that we can humbly aspire to go there one day, gradually purify our hearts by hearing, studying, and discussing in our family. See, family is a sacred classroom. If you are newly married or planning to get married, or even if you've been married for some years, the best place to begin bhakti is at home. Study, discuss Bhagavatam with your spouse and children. This is, I'm assuming both of them are devotees or showing interest. If you tell me, Prabhuji, but my spouse is not interested, that's another subject matter for another day. But here we are talking about the classic problem where devotees come to temple for shelter, but they are not connecting with Krishna at home. Even 15 minutes a day can transform the atmosphere at home. 15 minutes to sit together and discuss Bhagavatam. 1 hour every day, that will be, I know devotee families who are doing this. Home becomes spiritualized. Your relationships get nourished. And your family life also gets stabilized. This is a very simple practice. You know, what it does is it spiritualizes your relationship at the core. When couples start engaging with Krishna's pastimes at home together, they are able to wrestle with philosophical questions and doubts by discussing, because then they become a team. They start supporting each other's spiritual understanding at home. And their bond becomes infused with transcendental purpose. They have a purpose now. They want to serve Krishna because that's what they are discussing all the time. I want to share with you an uncomfortable truth amongst our grihasthas in ISKCON worldwide. The uncomfortable truth is, it is very easy to respect visiting sadhus. It appears that is the culture, that is what we have been taught, that is Vedic culture. That is true. We should respect sadhus, saffron, sannyasis. But unfortunately, we start respecting them more than our own family members. And it's easy for us to hear from sadhus than our own spouse or children, or discussing Bhagavatam together is actually when real spiritual advancement happens, because we learn to see Krishna consciousness in those who are closest to us. Start hearing from it. Requires humility, and it also requires you to create a sacred space with our most intimate relationships that we have. Discussing, I'm not saying we should not discuss from sadhus or we should not come to temple. I'm not, don't go to the other extreme now. But there is an imbalance of temple and house in many ISKCON communities. We pour our energy completely into temple, which is very good. Temple is very happy for. But we leave the home untended. So the temple grows, but family tension is silently mounting. And the result is painful. Sometimes the community temple's strength seems to be directly proportional to the weakness in the members' family life. It seems temple's growth is directly proportional to the disturbance in your house. Because both of them, they are not getting along well, so they come to temple and increase their service. But home life is deteriorating slowly. And the increased service is celebrated by the temple. Ultimately, we are happy Krishna service is going on. And the devotee also gets appreciation, no? Externally. So he also feels, Prabhuji appreciated me. So they are also happy, temple is also happy. It appears to be win-win, but the fundamental problem is not addressed. And then the other family members, they start getting resentful towards Krishna. They create long-term damage to your spiritual foundation. And this is not a sustainable spiritual growth. It is called in psychology as spiritual escapism, escaping from real issues by practicing spirituality. And it backfires in devastating ways. I don't want to get into details. It's brutal and it is inevitable. First, what happens? The neglected family members, especially children, I can tell you so many stories. They start associating Krishna consciousness with abandonment and hypocrisy. For them, Krishna consciousness is hypocrisy. They see their parents are speaking about love and compassion in temple, but they're not showing compassion to me. The very people who should become Krishna's devotees through family influence, they start developing resentment towards spiritual life. So this is one. Second is the spiritual foundation of our own life. Our own spiritual foundation starts crumbling. because we're not investing in our personal relationship at home. So the investment is not there. Then the activities, bhakti activities become ritual, follow. क्योंकि वो personal relationship नहीं है ना. So because we're consistently hurting those whom Krishna has given to us to take care of. So this contradiction creates what is called as bankruptcy. You become bankrupt spiritually. This is also there. Third, the temple community also suffers in the long run. Because families are breaking apart, then how will temple grow? See, temple is inheriting broken people, bringing their unresolved conflicts, their baggage, their resentments into the spiritual environment. आपको समझ रहे हैं मैं क्या बोल? So children should have grown up as natural devotees, but then they become obstacles to temple growth also because they sometimes actively work against Krishna consciousness. I don't want to tell you scary stories, but there are many things. I would like to say one amazing thing that happens, unfortunate thing, is escapist devotees. This is like the most crushing realization devotees get when they neglect practicing bhakti at home, is that all the temple services cannot substitute for the character development that comes from learning to love difficult people in difficult circumstances, which can happen at home. The very qualities that you need for advancing in bhakti, like, what you need: patience, compassion, selflessness, genuine care. This is best developed in the laboratory of family life, if you're not married, right? Not in the comfort zone of temple where everyone already has shared values. We all have the same value system. So, but then the devotee eventually realizes that, oh, I'm running to the temple, but actually I'm running away from Krishna. It's ironical that I'm running to temple, but running away from Krishna. Because Krishna has come in the form of your family and is given an opportunity to practice bhakti in real life challenging situation. And we are escaping from that. So therefore, you don't have to artificially suffer or neglect your responsibility. Just be honest about where you are. वो level पे थोड़ा current situation को थोड़ा gradually elevate करो थोड़ा. And instead of imitating the gopis, just be where you are. अपने औकात में रहने का, अपना heart offer करने का. And sincere study, honest self-reflection, share with your children, spouse, whatever you study. And Gauranga Darshan Prabhu has written books in a very nice way. For elders also, that is, book can be read by elders, very secular language, very nicely written. So when we do that, we create a foundation for very genuine spiritual growth. We will learn to see challenges as opportunities. We will not neglect. So don't pray like this, like Gopis. Krishna, you can do whatever you like. One devotee did that in Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra. He's standing in front of Jagannath, this foreigner devotee, because they don't allow foreigners to go inside the Jagannath temple. So seeing Jagannath, he started crying, Jagannath, take everything away from me, I'm yours. In next 10 seconds, his passport bag was stolen. उसमें passport था, rupees था, all the credit cards were there, everything gone. I come from America. Jagannath, take everything. I'm yours. अच्छा, पहले passport bag निकालो. Then what misery went to next 6 months. Passport, visa, credit card. It's not a zamela, na? India में वो भी many years ago. Not now. I guess now the systems are better. I don't know, but the point is to pray like that and be ready for Krishna to reciprocate. So let us first learn to appreciate. Let's offer Krishna what we have now. My attention is what I have now. I'll offer my attention to Krishna. My care for family members, my honest engagement with my current responsibilities that I have. Then I use that to Krishna service. See, the path to highest bhakti is not by bypassing our current circumstances. We can't bypass our circumstances. We have to transform our circumstances. And then we can get Krishna. So the bhakti begins at home. That is the conclusion of this article. At home with scripture in hand. ऐसा नहीं कि होम मतलब होम घर बने, क्या घर एक मंदिर नहीं है हमारा, मंदिर है, घर को मंदिर बनाओ, थोड़ा प्रयास करो, झमेला होगा, प्रॉब्लम्स होगा, but basically willing to do the hard work for honest transformation. So the Shanti Parva of Mahabharata says, Dharma, Artha and Kama are possible only for the Grahastha. Grahastha alone can sustain the world. If you want the verse, I'll give you later. Shanti Parva, 60th chapter, 7th verse. So this is my humble offering. So basically we discussed today Krishna kissing the gopis, and then we discussed Krishna's intimate relationships, how all of that is about leading to Ashli Shiva Padaratnam, where our mood is to long for Krishna in the mood of separation. Purvaraga, Prema Vechitya, Mana and Pravas. But ultimately, we cannot artificially reach there and offer Krishna everything. We practice bhakti given in our challenging circumstances and move towards Krishna. Hare Krishna. Sorry, today there is no time for questions. It is 8:35.